کابل گرین. صفحه کابل گرین را سابسکرایب نمایید و زنگ را بزنید.
Here are a couple of ways of making a card jump out of a deck, which is quite fun, especially if it's a borrowed deck. So let's have a go at that. This is a very simple effect, which is basically going to move the top card dynamically out of the deck, spiraling and returning. So that's a boomerang effect. There's another technique as well, I'll show you in a second, which happens slightly differently. Also comes from the top of the deck. Actually, it'll happen in different ways each time you try this. You can actually move across quite smoothly. Those are cards coming from the side of the deck. You can also make the card jump out of the front of the deck, the top of it, as I've just done now. Occasionally you'll get to catch it, like so. Let me just show you the techniques I'm using here. The first one is coming out from the side of the deck, so that if you hold the deck face down, your thumb on the left, the forefinger on the front of the short side and 3 fingers along the long side on the right. I'm going to push the top card to the right with my thumb. It goes out like this, the cards. And as I've dragged it over, the momentum and the release starting from the hand will actually spring it that way. It works as one movement. Can't really slow it down as with all these techniques. So the card's being dragged down and you're instantly throwing it out. So this finger is basically, middle finger is basically dragging the card over. Spin occurs because as it leaves your hand, this card is going to rotate in this way, I think. And the travel happens because there's movement going that way. Okay? So basically, you're doing this. That's the first technique I wanted to show you of getting a card to leave the deck and come back from the deck. The other technique was from the top of the deck. You can choose your own favorite. I hold the cards like this now. I'm holding them by the top and the bottom corners on my right, my middle and my thumb. And I'm going to take the forefinger here and drag that card down and then suddenly release it to shoot out this way. Look what happens from your point of view. Okay? So you could do this quite suddenly down and up. Just to send a card out, okay? And the other technique as well for just sending a card out, for whatever reason. Okay, now you can actually get a lot of direction and momentum on this, but I prefer to use this simply for a boomerang, which is why I'm not actually used to practicing for this thing to have distance. Notice how difficult it is to get them right, so this is not a surefire way of doing a card to go out or come back. But just to get you started along on the whole notion of getting cards to behave a little bit like people with a bit of momentum, animation, and the unexpected qualities that people have. Okay, here's a way to make cards fly out and come back. thrown singly from the hand and not from the deck. Okay. That's one way to do it. That's another way. Let's try another throw from there. Okay. Sometimes you're going to catch it, sometimes you won't. But the basic principle is you're giving a spin and a forward travel. First technique I use is to hold the card so that the top left corner will dig into your forefinger, your middle finger, and other finger is still below it, your thumb on top. And you're going to do two things. One is it's going to travel like this. In doing so, you're both going to push with these fingers below it this way, and with that finger up here, you're going to pull. You want this to pivot and spin as it leaves. The idea is to give as much spin as possible from this card before as it's leaving the hand. The spin is what actually brings it back to the best way of putting it, but I need it to travel. It won't travel unless it's spinning. The spin creates a nice cushion of air that it travels on. So I'm going to make this movement at speed, and it's a bit of a snap, in fact, when you do that. Okay? This is how you're holding it. Okay, that one right away. Let's try again. You can throw them in many different angles using this technique. You need to be aware of running out and catching the card when you do it. And you can actually get quite good at this. So you can throw it quite far out and catch it from quite far. The other technique I used is to keep my forefinger on top and the middle finger and the thumb down there. Okay? That's the sort of position you're going to hold it in. And this kind of works on its own because you go there and you just toss it out in this direction with a little bit of whipping motion. Try and keep it level on the final throw. No, you didn't catch that. You really need to get it with a lot of momentum so that it actually will come back. Just notice the different angles it can come back at. And actually you won't catch sight of it. In fact, in here, I'm losing it in the background, but just watch how, as you put the snap on it, it'll actually come back towards you. Okay? So just bear in mind, you won't be catching this every single time either. And that's your second boomerang, throwing a card singly and not from the deck. The technique I'm using in this one is to hold the cards so that my forefinger is on top and the middle finger and thumb just below that, holding the top left corner, like so. I'm just going to give it a bit of spin, a bit of a whip, a bit of a kick, and a bit of a forward movement. Just be aware this is actually an object which actually at speed and with accuracy could hit something and cause a little bit of movement wherever it arrives, so you need to be aware for safety's sake. Be careful what you're throwing towards. Never throw this towards people. There's a second technique, which is to dig the top left corner of the card into your forefinger. Curl the fingers just below that. Get the thumb on top. You're going to make this sort of a movement. You're going to be pulling back, pivoting the card on your thumb and your middle finger this way. And your middle finger is going to push this way, so that the whole effect is, as you can see, to move the card that direction. Also, you're going to whip it to give it that travel. Now this can be very effective when you're trying to get a little bit of distance, but it's actually very difficult to make consistent. Okay, so just be aware of that. Consistency, it'll take a lot of practice. You will find that you're using just one kind of deck of card constantly. You'll get used to how they are throwing. So that's just one kind of fun thing to do with a deck of cards, and you end up with very few cards left. Your arms can get quite tired, but you can have a bit of fun while you're doing that. I'll have a few left to go, but I think I'll stop there. That's if the camera people have to retaliate and do that. Yeah, the best technique, of course, is just throw their tight decks. To make the card spin just like this, you need to do two things. Get a card out and balance your middle finger underneath that card between the intersection of the four corners. You can go diagonal like that. You're getting your middle finger between them in that position. And then you're just going to use your thumb and that second finger like this to turn it. You soon get the hang of exactly where to balance the card. The middle finger hardly moves, although you'll notice that it sort of curls in a bit in this way. But it's got to remain there afterwards. Much more important that the second finger and thumb give a bit of movement. You'll find a balance of movement between the three fingers on your own. But the basic thing is to balance it on the middle finger and to use the thumb and the other finger, the second finger, to make this sort of seesawing motion, which I'm calling zigzagging.
دوستای عزیز تشکر از این که با ما همراه بودید و دوستا فراموش نکنید صفحه کابل گرین را همین حالا سابسکرایب کنید و زنگ را بزنید و با نظریات و پیشنهادهایتان ما را کامل تر سازید. تا ویدیوی بعدی شما را به الله پاک می سپارم.